launch director. Our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
This is the launch director, performing the final poll for launch. EGS, Program Chief Engineer.
Program Chief Engineers have no constraints and are go for launch.
It is absolutely inspiring what humans can put together with their hands and design with their minds.
Range weather.
Weather is go for launch.
Seeing Artemis 1 about to happen, it is not a discussion, it's not a future plan, it is metal welded together, it is stacked, the rocket is fueled, we're doing this.
EGS, Chief Safety Officer.
CSO verifies the SLS Orion are go for launch.
Seeing the SLS rocket, it signifies the start of a new age of human exploration.
And Mission Manager.
You have a go to proceed with terminal count and launch of Artemis 1.
The Artemis program is maybe one thing that can make us all stop and look up into the sky and dream again and remember the power of teamwork.
On behalf of all the men and women who have worked to bring this hardware together to make this day possible, I give you a go to resume count and launch Artemis 1.
Apollo showed us that what we thought was impossible isn't, and we certainly expect that Artemis will be the one that takes us further.
And all personnel, we are going to resume the clock.
3, 2, 1, mark.
Artemis 1 is about proving out the capabilities of the SLS rocket in the flight phase to ensure that they're ready for crew. It's about proving out Orion. It's about journeying around the moon, testing out the heat shield on re-entry, and demonstrating some of our payloads that we had on board for this mission. So as the Artemis launch director, when we started to put pen to paper on the launch countdown, how long is it? What does it look like? What are the work steps? How many holds do you have? How long are the holds? There's a lot of satisfaction in going through launch and proving it out and seeing it work and knowing that you had a hand in helping that happen. On launch day, after the Artemis vehicle lifts off of the pad, right at 2 minutes in, the solid rocket booster propellant is consumed and you have the separation of the boosters. And then, 8 minutes into the mission, you consume the propellants from the core stage and you have core stage separation. At that point, you're in low Earth orbit. And you make that lap around the Earth in preparation for heading to the moon. You do a perigee raise maneuver that keeps you from re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, and that happens about an hour into the flight. And then at about an hour and a half, you have your TLI burn, which sends you on a path to the moon. It takes several days to get to the moon. To me, one of the most beautiful sights during the mission is we fly in close proximity to the moon. It was so special, so special. Then we go into distant retrograde orbit or stable orbit around the moon, where we can dwell for some amount of time. On December 1st, the burn to leave that distant retrograde orbit and head home was performed, which set us on a course to come back to Earth and splash down on the 11th of December.
Splashdown. From Tranquility Base to Taurus Littrow to the tranquil waters of the Pacific, the latest chapter of NASA's journey to the moon comes to a close. Orion, back on Earth. Orion is in great shape. Stable 1, just in the orientation that had been expected.
NASA has a legacy of firsts. It goes back to landing humans on the moon. That Apollo mission launched right here from Firing Room 1. I was a young girl, grade school. I can still remember the wonder and the awe watching those lunar landings with my classmates. And that changed us.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Artemis 2 crew.
And I think about the Artemis generation and the wonder and the awe that they have for what we're doing today and for what is to come.
A clearer picture is starting to emerge as the launch team now reports out that they only have a few minutes left of work to do before they're ready to pick up polling.
On launch day, one of my favorite steps in Launch Countdown is that terminal count. Those final moments inside of 10 minutes. And that is the most hazardous portion of Launch Countdown.
And Launch Director, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
And the launch director will perform the final poll for launch.
EGS, Program Chief Engineer.
Program Chief Engineers have no constraints and are go for launch.
Range Weather. Weather is go for launch.
And we'll step through those folks that are polled as part of that.
And Mission Manager.
You have a go to proceed with terminal count and launch of Artemis 1.
And when all of those goes are received, the launch director will give direction to pick up the launch countdown, or T0.
And all personnel, we are going to resume the clock.
3, 2, 1. We are T-minus 10 minutes away from liftoff of Artemis 1.
And that's a big moment for this team.
GLS is pre-tensioning the umbilicals at this very moment.
It's one you practice many, many times, but there's something different about it on launch day.
Looking down live inside Firing Room 1, Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson is overseeing.
In those final minutes of countdown, You're watching the data in front of you, making sure that we don't have any violations of our launch commit criteria.
Coming up in less than 30 seconds, ground launch sequencer will start bringing the high-energy systems online.
GLS, go for core stage check.
Inside of T-minus 6 minutes, it's hard to imagine with 100 teammates here monitoring their systems how quiet it can be. But it is incredibly quiet. The intensity of the moment, the focus, it's really something. And the only voice that you hear over the loops is that of the ground launch sequencer operator who will call out those final milestones. T-minus 5 minutes. GLS is go for FTS arm.
GLS, go for FTS arm.
And while this is going on, the flow of propellants to the vehicle is being terminated. Tanks are beginning to be pressurized for flight. T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds. There's no hold time remaining.
GLS, go for core stage to internal power. The count continues.
We get down to T-minus 10 seconds and you'll hear the GLS operator announce that we are go for core stage engine start.
Sounds pressure water now flowing under the Go for core stage engine start.
And here we go.
10.
Hydrogen burn-off igniters initiate. 7, 6, 5. Core stage engine start. 3, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition. And liftoff of Artemis 1. We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
I think it's important that we explore. I think we're called to it. What's beyond what we currently know? And to the next generation, I would say, welcome to the team. Help us write this chapter in history. And then help us write the next.